Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you. I'm KandyCorpse, you can call me Kay, and today is going to be reading some more true paranormal stories. So I went and I grabbed a few that I haven't seen, haven't heard on TikTok or anything like that. And one of them that actually caught my eye was an update, and I feel like there usually isn't updates with these sort of stories or like in these subreddits. So I went to the original and then I'm gonna go back and read the update. So for that first one, it is I Don't Feel Safe Anymore and I'm Getting Desperate. That's the title. These are all gonna be from r/paranormal encounters. Stories are gonna be linked below as usual. I would generally consider myself a skeptic. I don't really believe in this kind of stuff usually, but I've been having some strange experiences. I don't have anything else to turn to, so I hope this might get some answers or at the very least rule out some options. Okay, so where do I even begin with this? I guess it started back a few months ago. My house is small and only has 3 tiny bedrooms. The majority of the time I lived here, there were 5 people here. I shared my room with my sister up until October of 2023 when my brother moved out and she took his old room. A while after that is when I started to notice odd things. At first it was generally paranoia. In my room and only in my room for at least an hour before I go to sleep, I get really paranoid. It could be feeling of being watched or being hyper aware of noises, but I would be really anxious. Then things picked up a bit. I started to feel something hovering over my ear, never seeing anything but feeling it deeply. That tickle when someone whispers, you know? Like that, just hovering over my ear. This only happens to my right ear. It just so happens that when I lay on my left side, I face a mirror as it's my closet door. Apparently that's bad luck, I hear. Anyway, it goes on from here. One night as I was drifting off to sleep, I heard a man clearly whisper, "Stay awake," in my right ear, which scared the shit out of me for obvious reasons. And I felt that same hovering and watched feeling. Lately, I've noticed things moving across my vision, shadows in the corner of my eyes, and little white blurs across my vision. This only really happens in my bedroom and not much else. I've noticed something worse when I'm asleep. I often sleep with my hand under my pillow. Sometimes my hand peeks out from under the pillow, and then it happens. Something is grabbing my hand. It starts off with my index finger and pulls slightly on it as if trying to be discreet. Then it works its way to my pinky. Then I guess goes back to the index finger, only this time it makes small circular motions with it while pressing it on my pillow slightly. It does this with each one until it reaches my pinky, then after it shakes my headboard. I've noticed my mattress shake slightly while I sleep, which is definitely not normal. As far as I can recall, this is all the detail I have as of now. I'm worried I have a ghost of some kind. I'm also worried because mental illness runs in my family and my grandpa had schizophrenia. So Reddit, I ask, do I have a ghost or should I be evaluated instead? And if I do have a ghost, what can I do about it? I'll try to answer as many questions as possible, so feel free to ask any clarification in the comments. It's late while writing this, and I'm dyslexic, so grammar and spelling might be off. So I don't think I'm gonna go through the comments, at least not read them. From what I can see, for the most part, OP hasn't really responded to a lot of them. Actually, they have responded to some of the comments further down. But I do just want to go straight into the update because I believe in the update they do answer questions. Okay, so here's the update to I Don't Feel Safe and I'm Getting Desperate. First of all, I'd like to thank all for the advice I got in my original post. It was really comforting to have so many people reach out for help and advice. This community was very welcoming and I appreciate you all. With that being said, I think my post is overdue for an update, which I believe was only a few days later. So for those who don't know, I recommend going to the old post. It's the only other post on my account as of now, which now there is a couple more in other subreddits. Anyway, as boring as it might sound, it did just turn out to be anxiety. Life changes had started the trend, and towards the end it got worse as I got really into ghost hunting videos, specifically Sam and Colby, but a few others as well. I didn't think it was going to be as big of a deal, as I felt fine when watching these videos, but once I tried to sleep, it was a very different story. It seems the videos had a much greater impact than I thought, and I decided to stop watching them. Since my old post, I have had significantly less anxiety and paranoia, and I've stopped having the paranormal experiences. Yes, it's really anticlimactic. Sorry this story didn't have a more entertaining ending. I'm doing better now though, so thought I'd give people an update in case anyone had been thinking about it. TLDR, I don't have a ghost, I'm just mentally ill. Well, there we go. I think for a lot of people that's something that they don't really take into consideration, that like it may not bother them at the time of watching like a scary movie or ghost hunting and things like that, but later it might. And so this next story is actually really short. It's titled Son Said a Number Combination Before Hearing It. Possible experience here and curious on others' opinions. We were on a short road trip to a playground. We made a stop at a grocery store that we've never been to before. Only my wife went in to use the restroom. When she came out, she stated there was a code to use the restroom. This is when my son, 5-year-old, said 2533. Kind of ignoring him, I asked my wife what the code was, and she said it was 2533. I thought she was joking, so I asked her again, and she said that she wasn't kidding. So we have this sort of pinky swear thing we decided we swore by, and I totally believe her. Paranormal or just coincidence? I think that's interesting. I mean, I've definitely heard stories of stuff like that happening before, and like, you know, a lot of people, when they talk about the paranormal, a lot of it, the kind of general consensus is that children can like see and feel and experience more, and I think around this age is when that kind of starts to phase out. But I have heard of things like that, so I think that's pretty interesting, because it's weird. I mean, because why would a coincidence like that happen? Like, why would your son know that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely not saying, oh yeah, it's 100% paranormal, but like, it's weird. Like, how would he know that? You know what I mean? Okay, so I wasn't expecting that one to be so short, and I guess technically I've done 3 because one of them was an update, but I will do this last one. I wasn't going to because I didn't realize this one is really long compared to the others, but fuck it, let's go. This one is titled My Night at a Strip Club in a Parallel Universe. Yes, this is true. In 2012, my father died at the age of 85. I had taken care of him for over 4 years. For the last year, he was getting increasingly senile and would wander off down the road late at night, so I had to stay up to catch him. Police found him several times and brought him back, and contacted Senior Protective Services, who came to see me and said, you put him in assisted living center or you yourself are going to prison. In other words, I was blamed for him leaving late at night, so I had to stay up. After being up for 5 days, I passed out. He took off again and was eventually found wandering by police. So they put him in a nursing home that charges $600 a day for a shared room and 3 meals of consisting of things like mashed potatoes, peas, etc. He was assisted to the bathroom in a shared small room. Somehow that costs $500 a day. Well, within a month, his insurance ran out, so they sent him to hospice, even though he wasn't dying, and cut off food and water because his insurance would no longer pay for the nursing home. He was starved to death, literally because his insurance ran out. I had no money to help him, and my brother could not shell out $500 a day, not a week, but a day to keep him in the home. So he was starved / denied water to death. No, I could not afford an attorney, and my brother refused to get one. By the sound of it, there seems to be a little bit of resentment towards the brother. The way OP says it, it leads us to assume that the brother could afford to help or have the ability to, but chose not to. But we don't know the brother's situation. That is insane though. I mean, I 100% have heard horror stories when it comes to caring for the elderly and insurance and just medical care in general. Honestly, medical care in the United States is absolutely horrifying, especially when it comes to the elderly, children, the disabled. Like, it's all absolutely terrible. So honestly, I believe OP when they say this. Like, it sounds dramatic and it sounds like they're trying to shift blame, but unless you've like worked in that space or, you know, had to experience it in some way, then you might not understand how real and how tragic this truly is. After my father died, I was in a deep depression, and I got a room in a motel. I could no longer afford the apartment my father and I lived in, a very seedy motel room that was haunted by a poltergeist. I was only there for a week, but the ghost would turn off the lights and TV over and over again. I would yell stop, and it would quit for a minute or two and then start up again. It would slap my mattress hard or push it down over a foot, etc. I once came out of the bathroom and looked at the bed, and the mattress was breathing in and out like it had lungs. I could see the mattress rise and fall with every huge breath it took. Was I scared? Sure, but by that time I had plenty of supernatural experiences, so scared, but not that scared. I had to get out of the place, so I went to a strip club. No, I had no friends in Portland. My father and I had lived there for 3 years, but I had no friends. I did not socialize, belonged to no churches or clubs, did not grow up there, did not attend school. Every day was spent getting my father's meals, cleaning up after him, and driving him to a bar and back. If I didn't drive him to a bar every day, he would take cabs every single day. So I decided to get out of the room and drive to a strip club one night at about 10 p.m. I went to my car and drove to the freeway, but I was the only car on the freeway. That freeway fed into Interstate 5 and then 405, and again I was alone. There was no cars anywhere. It was 10 p.m. on a Saturday night. I headed over to Beaverton to the strip club, and I did not see a soul and saw no other cars. I remember I was feeling very strange. At the strip club I frequented, they had a very thick glass door, very heavy. The strippers had to grab the door with 2 hands and use all their weight to open it. I'm a big, strong man, but I found opening the glass door difficult. In any case, I get there, and I'm going for the glass door, but then a stripper I knew was getting there to go to work, and we said hi, and I said going inside, and she nodded yes. And I went to gather strength to open the thick, heavy glass door, but when I did, it was as light as air. I was dumbfounded. She walked in and went to the dressing room. I sat on a chair that I usually sat in when I visited there. About 10 minutes later, several other strippers I did not recognize came out to the main room where I was and said, "Are you a ghost?" I said, "What?" They said, "Are you a ghost?" One stripper said, "Are you dead?" I felt insulted. I knew I was feeling a little sick, but not that bad. I was gonna say, "How dare you?" but instead I said, "No, can you see me breathing?" The stripper said, "Are you dead?" Again, but this time louder. I said, "No." She said a third time, "Are you dead?" And I said, "I don't know." I got tired of replying. Anyway, another stripper came over and sat by me and said, "You're glowing." And she started to cry and get up and said, "You're glowing, you're glowing." And she cried louder and got louder until I put my hands up like, "Shut up." And she stopped and ran away crying. I knew I probably didn't look my best, but I felt really insulted. Finally, another stripper came and asked, "Who are you?" I told her my name, but she said, "No, who are you?" I told her my name again, and she said, "Tell me, who are you?" And so I sarcastically said, "I'm not from here, I'm from another planet." The girls jumped up and ran into the back. At that point, a fellow ran into the strip club and looked at me. His eyes bulged, and then he ran back out. I sat there another 20 minutes with no girls out, until finally the manager came out and said, "Sir, I'm sorry, but you have to leave." So I got up and left. I drove home about 15 miles, and like before, I saw nobody and there was no other car on the road, and most of the way back to the haunted motel room was just by 3 different freeways, no other cars, and by this time, it was about 12 midnight in Portland, Oregon on a Saturday night. So I go home and go to sleep. I wake up the next day thinking, wow, that was the most detailed and lifelike dream I've ever had. After a couple of days, I returned to the strip clubs, and this time freeways were filled with cars. And I got there, and another stripper I knew told me that most of the girls of the night crew quit a few days before because a ghost came in and they talked with him for a while. And one of them called for her boyfriend to come over and get here, but he was so scared he left without her, so they all quit. Yes, true story. Yes, you can put it on your website if you want. The only thing I can think of is that I either visited a parallel dimension or I was in my astral body, which glowed. I still don't know why I could not see other cars on a Saturday night in Portland, Oregon. No, I have never smoked anything. I have never drank alcohol. I've never used street drugs. What I experienced was not a dream. I know the difference between a dream and reality. I don't know why I could not see other cars or pedestrians that night. I don't know why I glowed. I don't know why the heavy, thick glass door was light as air. I have no answers, only questions. So in the comments, someone does say, they're asking OP when you went the second time, and they mention the ghost. Did they give any details indicating what the person looked like, how they acted, etc.? And OP said, anything that I was told is what I wrote, which is a little sassy, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't know, whatever. And then people are talking about like some other stuff. So this is in Oregon, I guess. Yeah, I'm not gonna go through all the comments because the comments are like a mixture of OP arguing with people and like not responding to people at all who are like asking questions about like the ghost experience, but only responding to people who are like saying that OP is lying or like saying stuff about like their dad and it not being true. So I don't know, I'm just gonna leave that as it is. I think that's pretty crazy. That is super weird. I have no thoughts on what it could be. Like, I mean, they said that it could have been like astral projection, that they don't think it was lucid dreaming. I guess at first thought it was a dream until like the strippers like had said, you know, like something had happened a few nights ago. So I don't really know. But I think that's really interesting. And if this isn't creative writing, that's really weird. That's really strange. And I would have been very concerned if that happened to me. Okay, so that is all for today. Stories are going to be linked down below if you wanted to check them out yourself. Make sure you like and comment. Tell me what you thought of these videos. If you have any theories, any thoughts on what could have been happening with any of these stories. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.